She was found at the bottom of the stairs, her body broken, her head twisted at an unnatural angle, blood spreading slowly across the floor. Her husband, James Parker, sat nearby, shaking and crying, telling first responders that she had fallen. He insisted it was an accident, that she had simply slipped while carrying laundry. But as doctors examined her injuries, and later as the autopsy revealed the truth, his story began to unravel. What looked like a fall was something far more sinister. This is the story of Claire Matthews, a woman who loved, who dreamed, who trusted, and whose trust ultimately cost her everything. Claire Matthews was born on June 14, 1987, in Asheville, North Carolina. From the beginning, she was described as a light in the lives of those around her. She was creative, endlessly kind, and had a natural gift for design. At Appalachian State University, she studied interior design, where professors often remarked on her ability to turn ordinary spaces into warm, welcoming places. Her sister Amanda would later say, "Claire didn't just design rooms, she designed feelings. She wanted people to feel at peace, to feel safe." After graduation, Claire moved to Charlotte, where her career quickly took off. Clients loved not just her work, but her warmth and ability to make them feel understood. She was building a promising future for herself, one rooted in compassion and creativity. It was in 2013, at a friend's birthday party, that Claire met James Parker. He worked in finance and carried himself with an air of confidence that immediately drew her in. James was different from the men she had dated before. He was ambitious, polished, and always seemed to know exactly what to say. Within weeks, he was sending flowers, writing her notes, and telling her that she was the one he wanted to spend his life with. He called her his future wife within a few months of dating. To friends, it looked like a whirlwind romance, the kind of love story people envy. To Claire, it felt like security and devotion, everything she thought she wanted. But red flags soon appeared. James's constant attention came with conditions. He wanted to know where she was, who she was with, and why she hadn't answered quickly enough. At first, Claire dismissed it as caring. Amanda remembers warning her, but Claire brushed it off, saying, "He just wants to make sure I'm safe." Over time, James's temper began to show. Small arguments over dinner plans or weekend trips could spiral into cold silences that lasted for days. By 2015, they were married. The wedding photographs show a smiling couple, but behind the smiles, there were already cracks forming. Claire began to withdraw from her friends. She canceled outings, declined after-work drinks, and when asked why, she would quietly say, "James doesn't like it." The marriage grew darker. Claire confided in her best friend, Rachel, that James sometimes grabbed her wrist during fights, holding her with bruising force. She laughed it off, calling him too intense, but the faint mark she hid told another story. By October 2018, the neighbors could hear the shouting. One described hearing a crash, followed by silence. Claire explained it away as stress, and no police were ever called. But by 2020, the pandemic forced the couple into constant proximity. Friends noticed Claire's once vibrant personality had dimmed. She seemed tired, distracted, and often nervous. When someone asked how her marriage was, she forced a smile and said, "Marriage is work, a lot of work." On January 11, 2021, at 10:43 p.m., James called 911, his voice frantic. "My wife, she fell down the stairs. There's blood everywhere. Please hurry." Paramedics arrived quickly. They found Claire at the bottom of the staircase, unconscious and bleeding. James sat nearby, repeating his story. He said she had tripped while carrying laundry. But something felt wrong. Her injuries were too severe for a simple fall. The stairwell was clean, showing no signs of a violent tumble. At the hospital, Claire was pronounced dead shortly after midnight. The autopsy would reveal the truth. Dr. Karen Liu, the medical examiner, examined Claire's body and found injuries that could not have come from falling downstairs. Claire had multiple blunt force injuries. Her ribs were fractured from direct pressure, as though someone had pressed a knee into her chest. She had defensive wounds on her arms and hands, showing that she had tried to shield herself. Dr. Liu's conclusion was clear. Claire's death was not an accident. It was homicide. Police reopened the case and searched the home again. This time, they found blood spatter midway up the staircase, proof that Claire had been struck before she ever hit the ground. Forensic analysis confirmed it. Investigators dug deeper and uncovered chilling digital evidence. On James's laptop, they found searches like "how to make a death look like an accident," "blunt force trauma fall," and "insurance payout after spouse death." It was as though he had left a trail of breadcrumbs pointing directly to his plan. Neighbors also came forward, saying they had heard Claire screaming in the days before her death. Most telling of all were the life insurance policies James had taken out, totaling $750,000, with himself as the sole beneficiary. They had been updated just 2 months earlier. On March 5th, 2021, James Parker was arrested at his office. Shocked co-workers watched as detectives led him out in handcuffs. To reporters, he insisted he was innocent. "It was an accident," he said. "My wife fell, that's all." But prosecutors charged him with first-degree murder, and as the trial approached, more of his past came to light. Former girlfriends described his temper, his volatility, and his threats. One recalled him pushing her against a wall. Another remembered him saying, "If you ever leave me, you'll regret it." Financial records showed his debts were overwhelming, and the life insurance payout would have cleared everything. Then came the most haunting piece of evidence: a text message Claire had sent to Rachel less than a month before her death. "If something ever happens to me," she wrote, "please look at James. Promise me." The trial began in September 2022 at the Mecklenburg County Courthouse. Claire's family sat on one side of the packed room, James's supporters on the other. Prosecutors presented the autopsy findings, the internet searches, the insurance policies, the neighbors' accounts, and Claire's text messages. Piece by piece, they built their case. The defense painted James as a grieving husband who loved his wife, insisting that her death was a tragic accident. James himself took the stand, calm and composed, portraying himself as devastated. But under cross-examination, when asked about his internet searches, his composure cracked. I don't remember searching that," he muttered. After 3 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for only 6 hours. On October 7th, 2022, they returned with their verdict. James Parker was guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without parole. Claire's family wept as the sentence was read. Justice had been served, but closure would never truly come. In the months following the trial, Amanda and Rachel launched the Claire Matthews Foundation. Its mission was to raise awareness about domestic violence, to support victims, and to educate the public about coercive control, the kind of abuse that often hides in plain sight. The foundation partnered with shelters, funded counseling services, and launched campaigns with a simple message: love should never hurt. Each January 11th, family and friends gather to remember Claire with a candlelight vigil. They light candles, share stories, and remind the world that behind every headline is a real person: a daughter, a sister, a friend. Claire's story is a painful reminder that abuse often hides behind closed doors, masked by charm and disguised as love. What looks like devotion can be control. What looks like an accident can be violence. Her life and the lies told to conceal her death demand that we pay closer attention to the signs. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out for help. You are not alone, and there are people ready to listen. And to you, the viewer, I ask, what could have been done to protect Claire sooner? How can we as a society better recognize the signs of abuse before it is too late? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories where we uncover the truth. Because every victim deserves to be remembered, and every truth deserves to be told.